Glad to have you back. If you just joined us, this is Business Breakfast, iBrand Television flagship business program. It's now time to dive into the interview segment of the program, where we look at macroeconomic issues as they concern you and I. Now let's get talking now. In one of the most audacious responses to the ravaging inflation in the country, the Central Bank of Nigeria Monetary Policy Committee has raised the monetary policy rate, that's the MPR, the benchmark interest rate, by 400 basis points to 22.75% from 18.75%. The bank also adjusted the asymmetric corridor around the MPR to plus 100 stroke minus 700 basis points from plus 100 minus 300 basis points, while the cash reserve requirement, that's the CRR, was equally raised to 45% from 32.5% and retained the liquidity ratio at 30%. Now, Governor of the Apex Bank, Olayemi Kaduso, made the changes known while addressing journalists at the end of the two-day meeting of the MPC, the first under the reconstituted committee led by Kaduso. The magnitude of rate hikes beats the expectations of many analysts, although predicated further tightening of monetary policy. Believe it would be in the region of between 200 and 250 basis points to term headline inflation, which stood at 29.9% in January, and it will interest you to note that the MPR is the rate at which commercial banks borrow from the Apex Bank and often determines the cost of funds in the economy. Olaide Banu, macroeconomic analyst, joins me now live virtually to discuss more on this and other burning macroeconomic issues. Mr. Banu, good morning. It's a pleasure having you join me on the program.
Thank you for having me.
First and foremost, let's start our conversation with your reaction. How does the increment of the MPR from 18.75% to 22.75% come to you? Does it come as a surprise, or it was just an expectation that came to reality?
It didn't come as a surprise. It came as expected. We already know that the reduction in the MPR will cause more havoc on the economy, while also retaining it is not part of the option. We know that it's expected that the MPC will increase the MPR, but to what extent is what we do not know. We do not foresee to what large extent it was supposed to happen. So it happened yesterday, and it was increased by 400 basis points to 22.75%. It was already noted that the CBN has mentioned in the past that the current money in circulation was about 70 trillion naira, and that actually increased the inflation, one of the effects of the inflation rate, and the pressure on naira in the FX market. So what CBN has done is increase the MPR and also increase the cash reserve ratio, the CRR, to 45% to mop up the excess cash supply in the circulation.
Now, amid the numerous macroeconomic challenges confronting the economy, can you bring us up to speed with what further implication these recent hikes in CRR and MPR will have on the risk sector and the financial industry in the economy?
It's going to have more impact in the risk sector, in the sense that we are already talking about the expansion of the economy in terms of production, the manufacturer. We've seen that some manufacturing company, if you look at some foreign manufacturing companies are mentioned last year, they are exiting Nigeria market because of one issue or the other. So this increase will have more negative impact. It's going to increase their borrowing costs. We see Nestle today, which is to have a huge loss on their net profits. So a company like that is going to have more negative impact in terms of borrowing. Though the majority of all those foreign companies the loss they experienced in 2023 was as a result of the decision of the naira in the market. So I believe that this increase will affect the majority of the real sector companies in terms of their borrowing is going to increase significantly and going to increase their finance costs. Some companies, naturally, their borrowing, their gross profit margin, as we speak now, is at the rate at which they borrow from the bank, about 26, 30%, 32%. This is going to have more negative impact on those companies in the real sector.
I want to get your thoughts on this. With the latest increment, the latest increase in M 400 basis points, what direction is this giving about the Yemi Cardoso-led CBN at this point in time? What monetary policy direction is this signaling to the to foreign investors about the Nigerian economy, and what do you have to say about all of this?
What is pointing out to the foreign direct investors and portfolio investors as well is that come to Nigeria, come and invest in Nigeria, come and give Nigeria money in terms of investment and have this particular percentage of return. That's what is compared to where you had before. Because if every investor wants a higher return on investment, because if you are going into US and you're having about 5% return on investment based on the or let me say 4.5% return on investment, and you're coming to Nigeria excluding the exchange rate factor, you're having 22.75%, which is you are better off. That's the message the CBN is passing. And as well also to bring people in to invite the foreign investors to bring in more dollar and also have more liquidity for the exchange rate. So that's the message, because the US state also did the same around 2021 after the COVID, which they went on aggressive increase in the interest rates, which lead results for the inflation rate in the US. So I think the CBN is on the direction of inviting foreign investors by increasing the rate and also mopping up the excess liquidity in circulation.
Now, some economists have the view that the dramatic move by the MPC, which was consistent with the typical policy response of the central banks globally, fails to reckon with domestic peculiarities of the Nigerian economy. Do you agree with this notion that or could it be that global economic outlook have its own input into Nigeria's current economic challenges?
Please, I didn't get that clearly.
So many economists have the view that the Central Bank of Nigeria actually took its decision based on what's playing out, based on the decision by Global Central Bank of Nigeria, without any form of taking into consideration the peculiarities of the domestic economy. Do you agree to that notion?
What has been happening in the past is that the CBN has actually been following the IMF and World Bank recommendation. But everything has their own specific issues they are dealing with in terms of their economy. So Nigeria issue is quite different. Even majority of the global model doesn't work for Nigeria perfectly as expected. So what CBN has done is to look its own issue domestically and also addressing domestically the way it's expected, the way the Nigerians want the economy to be. So we hope that this rate is going to affect the economy positively, because what we have seen in the past is that the CBN go into rate hike moderately, but this particular was very aggressive from 18.75 to 22.75, which is very aggressive. And we also we still expect that there's going to be further increase. But how extent is that going to be against what I can have?